of us remember when Hurricane Dorian hit Atlantic Canada back in September of 2019. But our next guest experienced the storm in the Bahamas when it was regarded as the worst natural disaster in the island nation's history. Tara Pyfrom now lives in New Brunswick, where she moved sight unseen after the hurricane. She has documented her experience in her book, The Ocean in Our Blood, which tells the story of Tara and her family's harrowing survival during the hurricane, its devastating aftermath, and their journey of resilient trauma recovery and rebuilding a new life in a foreign country. Here to tell us more is author Tara Pyfrom. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning.
Now, your memoir is described as gripping and immersive. I can say from personal experience that it is that. What is one scene in the book that still haunts you today?
You know, at one point, trying to figure out the best way to keep our heads above water. The house was actually filling up with water like a fishbowl. So we got to the point where we were terrified that we would end up with our heads pressed against our ceiling and no breathing room. So we decided to go outside in the middle of a Category 5 hurricane. And we were only outside for about 30 minutes, but it was the worst 30 minutes of my entire life. I went under a couple of times. My wife had to pull me up by the back of my shirt. And that 30 minutes still haunts me. It's still difficult to speak about. I still get shaky when I try to speak about it. So it's a pretty intense portion of the book.
Yeah, well, the book is very intense, but it's the first person perspective. It's your experience telling it about growing up on the island. And it's a really, the experience of when you're describing the disaster, that is very harrowing and gripping, but also just your experience rebuilding, like trying to rebuild your life after such a trauma. And you managed to do that. In fact, you and your family moved to New Brunswick sight unseen after the hurricane. So what was that adjustment like?
Chaos. Complete and utter chaos. Trying to live one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. A lot of back and forth between my wife and I. We were at different points in our recovery at different times, so we were very rarely on the same page. We had a young daughter that we were trying to parent and help her deal with her own trauma. So yeah, a lot of days where everything felt hopeless, like it was never going to get any better, and we were just going to be stuck in this trauma-filled life permanently.
And many people struggle with trauma from many different sources, but they don't talk about it. They're afraid to talk about it. Why was it important for you to write this book and share your story honestly?
The book started out as therapy writing. So the book started out as I went to therapy, talk therapy. My therapist found out that I was an amateur writer, and she said, we're going to write it all down and you're going to read it out again and again and again. It was desensitization, and it worked really well. But who wants to read someone's sniveling kind of therapy pages? But by the time I had gotten about a year into therapy, I realized that I had a portion that could be considered the heart of the book. And that kind of gave me real focus and something to look forward to and something to work towards. And so when I decided that I should have been listening to my wife all along and writing the book, I kind of had that drive. And with that drive came the realization that not just did I have a story to tell about surviving the storm, I had a story to tell about surviving trauma. Now, not everybody's ever been through a Category 5 hurricane, but everybody's got something that they're dealing with, whether it's present, whether it's past. Someone has a bad car accident or a cancer diagnosis. It's all trauma, and we all have to figure out how to deal with it for ourselves. And in the middle of it, it doesn't feel like you can do it. And so I want my story to get out there and to help motivate other people to know that if I can survive this, you can survive your thing.
Well, those are powerful words. The book is incredibly well written. If people wanted to find this book, where do you buy it?
So it's available on my website right now. It's www.tarapyfrom.com. And it's also available in the brand new bookstore in St. John, New Brunswick, the Right Cup Bookstore and Cafe in Market Square. And it will be available on Amazon in July.
All right, well, Tara, we appreciate you taking some time to chat with us this morning, and we put all that information on our website to make it easier for people to find your book. So thanks again for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was Tara Pyfrom from New Brunswick on her novel, The Ocean in Our Blood. CTV Morning Live will be right back after this break.